No, 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 no.
Okay, so maybe in this one, it's saying, oh, this is basically a T account.
Okay,
Uh,
so the company had 172. Yeah, I remember that one for I couldn't figure it out. B. If you want, we can do that. Or try to do that for
okay,
sure.
let's do this one. Okay, so on September 30th, Valerian Company had 112.5 balance in accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is
The
a
whole, okay, beginning balance.
112,500. That's the beginning balance. It's a normal debit account, so you would start off with your beginning balance. And then during October, the company collected 112,890 from its credit customers. So if it collected it, oh my gosh, then it'd be over here. It's a credit, cash receipts, 112,890.
Hmm.
The October 31st balance in accounts receivable was 109. Okay, so we want this to be 109. So
Mhm.
determine the amount of sales on credit that occurred in October. So there's a couple different ways of looking at this. Uh, I can do it one easy way, or sort of easy.
Mhm.
This is no, sales on account, because this is
Yeah,
accounts receivable. Sales on account. I know that that's the general idea, and I know that I want 190 here, 109 here.
109. Yeah.
So I know I have 109 plus 390 essentially. So I do 109, 390, and that 390 will zero out that 390, and the 109 will remain. So that's what I should have.
But how did you get to that 109,390, the sales on that account? How did you get to that number?
I knew that this is what it should be, 109, 390.
Uh-huh.
And I know that it's currently, this is a 109, $109,000 debit is what it should be. But right now
Mm.
it's showing a $390 credit. So I need to zero out the credit, which means I need to add 390 to the 109. This is just me in my head doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why it's 109, 390. The way to do it mathematically, or like, let's say by Excel, where was Excel? Let me add a file. Another way to do this, like in Excel, would be algebraically and just map it out. So, you know, let's see, let me make this a little smaller, but yet bigger. Make that a little bigger right there, and maybe a little taller. Okay, so we know beginning is
112.
112,500. Well, let's
And
do this. Let me write this out algebraically first, and then
okay.
we'll figure it out. Okay, so let's start there. So ending balance, let's see, let's do this different. Beginning balance plus sales minus payments equals ending balance, right?
Is that a always formula or just in this case? It's a
Well,
formula I'm always gonna have.
this is specific to accounts receivable, but
Mm.
you could do something similar to accounts payable, right? So accounts payable would be beginning balance plus uh increases, which would be purchases
Mhm.
minus payments, right? So similar wording, but not exactly the same. It would have to be applied to that specific account,
The
right?
idea is the same. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but usually you're going to have a beginning, a plus of some sort, a minus of some sort that equals the ending balance. And so as long as you have those in, then you can then fill in the blanks. So in this case, I would have
12.
112,500 plus sales. Sales
Because
was 109.
did
No,
they didn't give us the sales, so it would be
that's right.
X.
So plus X, right?
Uh-huh.
Oops. Stop. Oh my gosh. Okay, never mind. Plus X, okay? And then minus, we know that their payments were 112,890, right? 112,890 equals 109,123, something like that. Okay, now that's all mumbo jumbo, but so now if let me do this like that so we can at least see it. Okay, now we see the equation. So now we just have to solve for X, right? So if we solve for X, then X equals, I'll just write this out instead of goofing around with the fields. X equals 109,123, right? Minus 125, whoops, 500 plus 112,890 when we move everything to the right side of the equation, right? So that is how I could do it. And so if I just did that here formulaically, 109,123 minus 112,500 plus 112,890, then I would get 109,390.
Okay.
Okay. So this is if I were doing it and I wanted to make sure I got it right, instead of just trying to do it in my head, I'd first write out the equation. I'd fill it in with what I know, leave what I don't know in there, and then solve for the unknown.
Okay.
Okay. And that's effectively what you had to do on one of these problems where the little yellow boxes were. In order to get to a net income or whatever, you had all the pieces, but you were missing a few. And so
Yeah,
you
to
just had
find
to
the missing
once
one.
figure out what the algebraic problem is, and then solve for the unknown. And so this is how I did it, but I just did it in my head because I knew that I needed to move this number over here and get to $109,000.
Okay, so now question on I think A and C, the beginning balance was not it was not my idea was like on A. He had 172,000 of accounts payable on September 30 and 142,500 on October 31st. So during the month of October, the purchases were 301, and then he wants to know how much cash was paid on the account. I thought that the beginning balance was 172,000, but I got it wrong. So it's not the beginning balance. So if it's not 172,000, it's not the beginning balance. So what it is?
It should be. Yeah, it should be.
It should be.
We can test the beginning balance is 172, 123. And the ending balance we know is that. Total purchases on credit. Oops, I got it on the wrong side. So accounts payable is on the right side. That's because it's a credit. So beginning balance.
Oh, and
right?
so that's what I did wrong then. I put it the
172.
wrong side because I put
Yeah,
on the other
probably.
side.
And then you had total purchases. So that's an increase on credit so this would be probably purchases on account. There you go. And purchase on account was 301, 123. And the ending balance should be 142. So now you got to figure out how much of a debit or a reduction from 473 do you need to do to get to 142.5. So this one, I could do it like I did before on the Excel file, but I can just say, okay, well, I've got 473 and I need to get down to 142,500. So what's the difference? And that should be
Yeah, that's what
payments, right?
what I did was 172 plus 142,500, and then 473 minus that. I think it was something like that.
Okay. So that's
But
what it should be,
yeah,
142.5.
it is. I remember that number.
Yeah, okay. So that's how this one shakes out. Might as well do the last one since we're here.
Okay.
Aluminum Company had 1,225 of cash receipts and 123 of cash disbursements. It's asking you what the beginning balance was. Okay, so that right.
Oh, so beginning balance was 122,500 plus 123,150?
Mm,
Oh
mm,
no.
it
What
would
is
be
cash?
a combination
What
of
is,
all three of these numbers
what is cash
because
disbursement?
it's the amount you paid out. So this on this side, the money that came in, cash receipts was cash receipts of 123, oh no,
122,500.
500. Your cash
Dis-
disbursements is
Uh-huh.
on the credit side, there's money paid out. That's 123, 150, right? So right
Yeah.
now it's showing that you got a 650 credit, but you really want a 28,
Yeah, what about
860.
the 28,600? Where does that go?
Want it right here. So you could come back here. Let's say we do another one, right? So we
Is
know on
the
this,
Wait, is the 2,800 the ending balance? The 28,000 the ending balance? Because it doesn't say it is the ending
yeah,
balance.
it's October 31st cash balance was 28.6. So if you're trying to figure out what the September 30th balance is, that would be the beginning balance.
28,600 is the beginning balance.
No, 28,600 is the ending balance.
Ending balance. So even if they didn't say is the ending balance, so I should have to assume that.
You have to, line up the
The
time frame
date.
here because
Mm.
October 31st is after September 30th. So if you know the October 31st balance, that's the later of the September 30th balance. So September 30th would have to have been the
So
beginning
I think
balance.
what the problem here was I don't understand what is cash receipts then and cash disbursement. I thought cash receipts were things that I bought. I have the receipts of the things I bought.
Yeah. No, that would be
But
stuff that you
you
received.
put on the left side, so you're putting as debit.
Exactly. Cash receipt is something I've received from customers.
Okay, yeah.
Cash
That was the
disbursements is what
problem.
I've paid out to vendors or other people.
So that was the problem because in my mind, and also English is not my first language. So in my mind, it was like receipts. Oh yes, things I bought. So I put on the other side.
Yeah, that would be a problem. So now we'll do this real quick. So then cash is the same thing, beginning balance plus receipts minus disbursements equals ending balance, right?
Mhm.
So now we don't know the beginning balance, so that's X plus receipts was,
It
let me
was
move up here.
112,500.
122,500. I'm not going to put the little thing in there. Minus 123,150 equals
20.
28,600, right? So now when we solve for X equals 28,600 minus 122,500 plus 123,150, right?
Okay,
And
question.
so, yes,
Will I'm thinking math here. Sometimes in math, when I'm doing these equations, I switch sides. Like instead of doing 2,800 minus 122, I would do 122 minus 28 because of the, the minus sign and stuff. Would that apply to accounting? I don't know
you
if it
could,
makes.
but you'd have to swap the negative X. So if I did it the way you just said, so let's say I said, instead of the way I did it, it's you did 122,500
Minus.
minus 123,150. I would do a minus 28,600 and then
Oh, it has to be
equals,
plus.
it would be a minus X because I'm moving X to the other side. So you could do that, but then you'd have to inverse the number because
Oh
when
no,
I
I
do,
wasn't talking. That's not what I was saying. I was like, I would do X equals
uh-huh.
in 122,500 minus 28. You see, instead of it started with the 28, it's just I don't know. I just think that it's easier to subtract a bigger number, smaller number from a bigger number than a big. You know what I'm thinking? I do that to
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
easy, but probably I'm going mad.
Possibly. if you did that, you'd still have to invert the number, because if I did it that way, you know, if I did plus 122,500 minus 123,150 minus 28,600, then I get minus 29,250. Same number, but it's at the inverse. So you'd have to, that's why you'd have to times it by a -1.
Okay.
But if you write it out as, you know, like this, exactly how you see it there, and then solve for X, moving everything to the one side, where X is positive, then you'll get to the right number. And so
Okay.
this, if I put in 29,250, I
You
should
should.
get the ending balance of 28,600.
Okay. Okay. So what I see, and this is not bad then. So it was most of interpretation, like translation concept for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the first one, the A, I
Yeah.
put on the wrong side. I put a beginning balance on the other side because I wasn't thinking that was a credit. I was thinking it was a debit.
Yeah.
And C was because I thought receipts was any kind of receipts is something that I I bought.
Yeah. Yeah. You bought. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Disbursements is
actually
payments, receipts, cash receipt, excuse me, is cash received.
okay. That was actually very helpful.
Okay. We'll check
Um,
our work.